Goeiemorgen. Good morning, fellow South Africans. And you'll notice I'm wearing a hat. And there's a very good reason for that. I don't know if you can see it from there, but I'll zoom it in a bit. But it's in the EFF colors. And interestingly, it is a hat promoting Zimbabwe. Now, we know what happened to Zimbabwe after they started stealing lands from other people. And in this in this short video, you'll see Ramaphosa being asked a question by a member of the EFF. And of course, she's in red, and she's got a red hard hat on. I mean, who has ever seen someone wear a hard hat into Parliament before? Maybe she's scared about the whole building falling down, God knows. But this is red, this is EFF, Zimbabwe, and that's where you'll take South Africa if you expropriate land without compensation. Now, without any further ado, let's get on to the video. But do remember, this Sunday night at 8 p.m. Johannesburg time, subscribe, because we'll be going live and be talking about some migration options. And I can tell you now that the place we're talking about is absolutely beautiful. Okay. Catch up soon.
Honorable Chair, honorable members, there is increasing consensus amongst many people in our country, as well as organizations, both within South Africa and internationally as well, that accelerated land reform is essential for inclusive growth and development of our economy. There is broad support for the government's position that the measures required to effect land reform must be guided by the Constitution and that they must affirm the rule of law. In other words, there is great support right across, almost unanimous support, that whatever we do in relation to addressing this issue of land must be done in terms of our Constitution, and it must also be done in terms of the rule of law. And that as we do so, we must also in the process enhance property rights of all South Africans, underline all South Africans, and not just a few. And clearly, implementing this must also ensure that we do not undermine the economy, we do not undermine the agricultural input of our country, and food security. That makes up the equation that a majority of South Africans agree with. So that should be taken as a given, that this process that we have embarked on should become an orderly process. It should become a process that will be underpinned by a rule of law. We have no reason to believe that any country would impose sanctions on South Africa for any actions that we take, actions that are constitutional, that are lawful and consistent with international law. I discussed the issue of land reform with the UK Prime Minister, Theresa May, during her working visit to South Africa on the 28th of August. She welcomed the way in which we are approaching the land issue and understood that land reform could, in the end, unlock investment opportunities as long as it remained legal and transparent and was the process, or rather the product of a democratic process. A democratic process that we are currently involved in. No communication was received by my office from the government of the United States of America regarding the expropriation of land without compensation. However, the Department of International Relations and Cooperation did meet with the Charge d'Affaires of the United States Embassy on the 23rd of August regarding comments made by President Donald Trump on Twitter. The Charge d'Affaires was urged to convey to the government of the United States South Africa's deep concern and to point out that the people of South Africa, of all races, are working together through Parliament and indeed a number of other formations and legal platforms to find a solution to this historic challenge. South Africa remains ready and willing to engage with any country in the world or international agency or organization on its approach to land reform. Just a day or two ago, our Minister of International Relations and Cooperation had a meeting with the Foreign Minister of Belgium. And in their discussion, the Foreign Minister, Mr. Reinders of Belgium, says he understood the issue of land and that it must be addressed. And he also said, this is a complex problem that affects many other countries in the world. So there was a keenness on his part to say that I understand and you have to deal with this matter and address it. Thank you, Honorable Chair.
Thank you, Mr. President. The Honorable Mukweli.
Thank you very much, Mr. President, for your answer that you have indeed engaged with foreign leadership and that you are adamant in terms of shaping or taking the initiative of expropriation of land without compensation. But now we are still faced with the anarchy, with the arrogance within the country by the likes of the right-wingers by the name of AfriForum and its partners, continuously spreading propaganda that white farmers are being murdered in South Africa and that this initiative by government, by parliament to amend the constitution will indeed affect the economy of the country. Now, my question to you, Mr. President, is that what are you going to do as a president to make sure that this spread of propaganda, this spread of lies that is in fact affecting the economy by its own nature, how are you going to address it to make sure that it comes to a stop? Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. The Honorable the President.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. What we have to do collectively is to make sure that we really become true to the path that we have chosen. The path we have chosen is to address this issue of land reform, utilizing the structures and forums that are currently dealing with it. And the most formal one is the parliamentary one, where debates, discussions are taking place, and I think this is where we should concentrate our attention on, because through this we are able to disprove the fallacy and the untruths of organizations that are trying to spread false stories about South Africa, what we are doing, and spreading fake news. Now, those are currently being discredited themselves. And as the truth becomes a reality, and as many well-thinking people who do their own analysis see the processes that we are involved in and how we are doing it, they become convinced that we have engaged on a path that is going to lead to a collective end that will be owned by all of us, because there is no other democratic structure where a discussion can take place other than Parliament. And of course, it's complemented and supplemented by various other structures. The discussions that we've been having throughout the country, and indeed, our own political parties are also involved in these discussions, and those too complement the work that is being done. And as the matter is being ventilated more and more broadly, it is sinking in the consciences of people who are well-thinking, who can now see that, yes, indeed, this is a historic problem and challenge we have to address. And this was clearly confirmed in my discussion with Prime Minister May. And indeed, many people are saying, you have to do this, you have to do it. But then again, a number of them are saying, as you do it, you make sure that, yes, indeed, you do transform, you do develop, but you do ensure that there is stability. So that is what we are going to keep to ensure the stability, and we are going to then prove that those who are spreading lies about our country, who are teaming up to go all over the world, will be telling falsehoods. And we will be able to counter that by telling the truth as it is. And the truth is precisely what Parliament is involved in, and which is a really fantastic, wonderful debate that is ensuing. Let us remember that when we also drafted the Constitution, in the year we drafted the Constitution, there were others who ran off and went to other countries in the world to go and scream and shout and complain that, rights are going to be violated. But in the end, their efforts came to naught, because we had embarked on a journey like now. We have embarked on a journey that is going to lead us to a fantastic destination. Collectively, we are going to find a solution for this problem. So that's where we are headed to. So if you are concerned, I would say, don't be concerned. Just relax. This process will end up very well. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. President.